right, folks, so this is starting to become a generational crash out. And the reason I say generational is quite simply because you have an entire generation of people, predominantly leftist, predominantly white, middle-class, liberal women, that believe in this deranged ideology, and they've been whipped up into a frenzy into believing false narratives and fake news and believing things that aren't actually true. And there really is a sort of biological reason why this is. Someone explained it recently very well. Their name is escaping me, but women naturally have a motherly sort of instinct, whether they want to admit that or not. And if they have nothing to direct or channel that energy into, they sort of adopt these ridiculous causes like this.
The ICE disappearing people in the streets, will you get in the way? Yes! If you are charged with enforcing any part of the president's unlawful executive orders, will you resist? Yes! If your neighbor needs a place to hide, will you hide them? Yes! And right now, as the Maine legislature is trying to scapegoat transgender student athletes bargaining long-held civil rights away in hopes that it will save Maine's federal funding, will you show up for them and say that our human rights aren't for sale? Yes! Thank you.
Now, I've said this before, that the rhetoric is becoming more and more violent. And I think a lot of people have now made the observation that, for example, Renee Nicole Good likely would not have been in that situation if it had not been for the violent rhetoric that is whipping these people up into a frenzy, where they are adopting this, I guess, false idea that ICE agents are sort of this Gestapo Stasi-like organization that are murdering. I don't use that word because that's what I believe. That's what these people are saying, murdering American citizens in the street. Now, of course, that's a complete fantasy. That's not actually happening. And I would like to take this second to remind people, if you cross into America illegally, you're a criminal. In fact, that is a federal felony. And these individuals are being removed from the country. That is the mandate. That is the mandate that ICE has. Okay, that is the reason, one of the large reasons why people voted for Donald Trump and his administration, because they wanted these people out of the country. Now, it gets worse. It gets worse. This is what these people are doing now in their spare time. And I've said this before, folks. I've said this in many videos. Violence is going to become a legitimate concern with these anti-ICE protesters. Take a look at this example. Okay, now I had originally played this video and I was going to react to it, but I realized I can't play this because the song in the background is the song Psycho Killer. And the whole premise of the video is this boomer liberal white woman saying that her and her buddies are now training at the gun range and carrying pieces on them because they're going to be confronting the ICE agents and the mega types, and they're going to give them a piece of their mind. And she proceeds to sing the song Psycho Killer. So folks, these people are actually psycho. The song is apropos, as they would say. It does fit the environment that this individual is trying to foster, I suppose. Now, I guess they just don't learn. I guess that learning is sort of a more difficult task for some of these leftist protesters, because Renee Nicole Good tried to run over an ICE agent. And we have seen this in other situations where these protesters have tried to cause physical harm to the ICE agents. Well, you think they'd learn their lesson, but apparently not, because now what they're doing is they're actually trying to get run over by the ICE agents. Take a look.
Sidewalk! Move back! Move back! Stay there! Step back!
Now, what's interesting is, just as an observation here, one of the narratives that the mainstream media is running with, the Democrats are running with, is that it is the ICE agents that are being deliberately provocative and stirring up these individuals at these protests, and they're the ones that are agitating the situation. They're the ones that are doubling down and making it worse. And folks, don't let your eyes deceive you, but from my vantage point, from what I'm seeing these ICE agents, these officers, these police officers act very calm. They're trying to maintain their composure. They're trying to carry out their mission. They're trying to act within the accordance of law. They're not the agitators. It's the leftists. And the reason I say that is because typically, if you're a protester and you're throwing bricks or other projectiles at authorities, I would typically define that as agitation.
Move back.
So there you have it, folks. And I think the videos, the footage speak for themselves. It's not the protesters that are the agitators. It's the ICE agents. Yeah, I don't believe that either.